والصلاة والسلام على رسولنا الكريم محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى أهله وصحبه أجمعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد, Assalamu Alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to another episode of Talk That Talk with Ardent Flair. I'm your host Mariam Umar Mariga. Talk That Talk, as you all know, is an avenue where we Muslim youth sit and discuss issues pertaining to our religion and our development as the upcoming generation of the Muslim Ummah. Today, inshallah, in the studio, I have Shahida Abdullah, and we will be discussing self-love as a woman and good etiquette in Islam. Shahida, thank you so much for honoring my invitation, coming here again. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you for your efforts as well. So self-love in Islam is different to the mainstream kind of self-love that we are exposed to on the social media. So everywhere around us we are seeing ideas that have been promoted as self-love, and they really are not the self-love that we are taught in Islam. So is it really just the bubble baths, the manicures, the massages, the indulgent takeaways, or is it something deeper? Is it something that benefits not just the exterior self but our nafs? So what is self-love in Islam?
So the concept self-love, basically having high regard towards your well-being and happiness, putting your own needs first, and not sacrificing those needs for the simple sake of pleasing others. Now in Islam, as you said, it is much deeper than that. It's actually taking care of your mental, your spiritual, and your emotional health, right? And also as Muslims, it's actually an obligation. It's a duty upon us to take care of our mind, our body, and our soul. And as Aisha radiallahu anha narrated, that the Prophet ﷺ said, verily our own self have rights over us. What he's saying is that it's a duty for us to take care of ourselves.
So it's just like you said, the hadith of Aisha radiallahu anha, people tend to look at the outside view. What I mean is they tend to look at validation from other people instead of taking it upon themselves that it's their own duty to take care of themselves. And this self-love, it encompasses of personal hygiene, your personal well-being, your mental health, your emotional well-being, all these kind of things are all regarded as self-love in Islam. So how can we work towards being selfless in our self-love? I think I want to start this by myself. I feel like self-love in Islam, the way it's been taught to us, it's a selfless kind of self-love.
Can I add something?
No.
Also, from the point I just finished, self-love is actually, when you're doing it with the intention of pleasing Allah, it becomes a form of worship.
Exactly.
So you're even doing it to get reward. As you're loving yourself, you're getting reward from Allah.
Exactly.
So pleasing Allah, becoming better versions of ourselves.
Now. Right. So you cannot just, you have to love yourself, but the selflessness and self-love in Islam is actually, you don't put yourself first all the time. Sometimes you actually consider other people's needs. You look at priorities, you look at what needs to be done, what's important, and all these kind of things. And obviously in Islam, self-love doesn't mean prioritizing your needs over other people's needs. Like I just said, it's like, obviously you understand your worth. You don't have to sacrifice yourself all the time. You're not putting yourself out of it completely. You know your worth as a creation of Allah, because we are in fact the best of creations, because we've been created by the perfect hands of Allah. So we don't need any validation from the outside. It's basically what I see is it's about being honest to yourself. It's being honest about yourself. Exactly. Being authentic, being real, being original, understanding yourself, accepting your ego, your flaws,
and once you know yourself, then other people's opinions won't really affect you that much, because you already know what you are about.
Exactly. And you're already open to improving, you're open to growing, and you just know that you're like a creation of Allah, obviously, and the center of focus, the center of our worship is Allah. So it is a form of worship, the self-love, just like you said.
And so when you connect the purpose of what we're here for, that's worshipping Allah.
Exactly.
You connect it to the self-love, then it gets easier.
Exactly. So you just know that it's for Allah and for Allah alone. So what are 4 elements of self-love that you can give?
So the 4 elements of self-love, there's self-awareness, then self-worth, then self-esteem, and then self-care. So if you're missing any one of these 4, then you haven't really attained that level of self-love. So the first one, self-awareness, is basically being aware of your thought process, your thoughts and how they affect you and the way you behave. So now once you know that, then you know your triggers, you know what makes you feel those negative feelings, and then you can kind of step away from those triggers and avoid them. The second is the self-worth, is basically the way someone sees themselves. If you see yourself as valuable or invaluable. Then we go to the third one, which is the self-esteem, and this is actually connected to your self-worth. If your self-worth is high, then your self-esteem is going to be high. Self-esteem is kind of like, it's connected to your achievements as a person, and when you have a high self-esteem, then you're content and comfortable with the achievements
as well.
Exactly, with the achievements you already have. Then we go to the last one, self-care. These are the acts basically that you do to make sure you're healthy, make sure you're good, your mental health is good. So
like you said, the self-worth, a lot of people in mostly our generation decide to get their self-worth from people that they look up to, and that's actually something that's very wrong, and it needs to be corrected, because they look at, let's say, celebrities, people that are out there showing just the good side of their life to them, and they feel they are not even, they're no match for them, and that's actually kind of denigrating themselves. They're like diminishing their own self-worth. So if you know your own worth, then like you said, your self-esteem becomes high and you become more confident. It also builds your boosts your self-confidence.
Also, you can like decide your value by the way you look or by the way people. It's not about like your body.
Actually, the best people amongst us, amongst the ummah of the Prophet ﷺ, is the one who is better in iman to Allah. So it doesn't matter how we look, it doesn't matter how we relate. It just, what matters is who you are to Allah. So we don't know we don't know our sight, we don't know how Allah sees us, we don't know how Allah perceives us. So we should just strive to be the people that have the higher iman, so that all these things can come together and make us accomplish success in the hereafter. So what ways can you practice self-love as a Muslim?
I think number 1 is being grateful. When you're grateful for the everyday things, like what Allah has given you in life, then you're more, you self-love comes easier.
It comes easier.
So practicing gratitude. Number 2, having those affirmations that you say every day, just daily to kind of remind yourself when you feel those negative thoughts coming in. So those daily affirmations to remind yourself. Another thing is limiting your time on social media, because I feel like that's where we get all of those
negativity
ideas, or this person is perfect, I want to be like them, but those are just fake images, fake ideas that they sell to us.
Exactly, so that we can diminish our self-esteem. I feel like people can also be honest with themselves. Honest with yourself, take responsibility for your actions, and just you know who you are. You know who yourself better than anyone. So you just be honest to that self of yours and connect with yourself. Like you said, stay away from social media. Well, don't really stay away, but
too much.
Yeah, exactly. It has to be in moderation. So connect with your heart rather than connecting with social media. And I say this a lot, and I'm going to repeat it again. Don't allow the social media or another people, set of people to give you a validation about yourself.
Exactly.
Don't ask people, what do you think about me? Everybody's going to give you their own opinion, trust me. So ask yourself, what do I love about myself?
Yes.
What do I cherish about myself? What have I achieved so far? These kind of things are what we should be asking ourselves. And then you can also have tawakkul.
Yeah.
Obviously, strive towards achieving happiness. I mean, a lot of people do that. We should do that because it's part of the self-love. You can strive to achieve happiness, but if you've done all you can and there's nothing more you can do, then leave the rest to Allah.
Make dua.
Exactly. Make dua and pray to Allah. Allah would help you in this journey of self-love that you're trying to attain. And then, like you said, the daily affirmations, you can talk to yourself. I feel like the affirmations are basically just positive sayings. They are sayings of positivity and light that you tell yourself so that you can boost your self-confidence. Exactly. So what I tell, personally, I just want to share what I tell myself to everyone. Every morning when I wake up, I have my skincare routine. So I don't do that yet. Obviously, you have to do all the other things that you have to do when you wake up, the prayers or whatever. So after that, as I'm doing my skincare, I'm like, okay, I've been created in one of the perfect ways. I actually say it out loud because that makes me believe it, and I feel, and you know, the more you say it to yourself, the more you actually become it. Exactly. So I told myself I've been uniquely, you know, created by Allah and for a purpose. And I tell myself again, the more I understand myself, the more I understand Allah's greatness. And lastly, I tell myself I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be in Allah's plans, in His divine plans. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. I don't care who thinks I'm in a downfall, in pitfall, I'm in this, I'm in that. I know that I'm know where I am at. Allah wants me to be there, and I'm okay with
Allah is the best of planners.
Exactly. And coming to skincare routine, when I was talking about it, self-love means a lot of things to different people. For some people, it's the manicures. For some people, it's getting massages. For some people, it's bubble bath at night or in the morning. For some people, it's this actually skin routine. For me, actually, I think it's just self-love is just doing what I love doing. But for some people, there's actually a major problem. People actually destroy themselves in the name, in the search, in the yield for self-love. Take for example,
which is not actually self-love.
Exactly, which is not self-love. You cannot be bleaching your skin and tell yourself that I'm doing self-love because I'm applying what do you call them, bleaching creams and all this. Something people don't know is, fine, you bleach your skin for two reasons. It's either to pursue beauty and perfection, which can only be attained in the hereafter, not in this world, and that's like a very great sin. It's not permissible in Islam because it has to do with alterations in the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that's not even allowed. And it's also regarded the same as tattooing your body, the bleaching of skin. And then it's also done to remove a fault or blemish, which you see people are not appreciating themselves again. So because you think, oh, I have a pimple, oh, I have this, I have that, I want to remove
it all comes down to the intention.
Exactly. It comes down to the intention. Obviously, if you intend to actually do it in a good way, there are organic products. There are good products, you can use that. And before I get to that, you know, there are lots of things that are contained in these bleaching creams that people don't really know about.
Chemicals.
And exactly. You have chemicals like kojic acid. You even have mercury. And there's this one that's very dangerous, hydroquinone. It causes ochronosis, which is like a blue-black coloration of the skin. Yeah, exactly. It causes skin cancers. And you know, you have this blue-black discoloration in your skin, and it reduces the production of melanin in your body, which is responsible for your skin color. So you're basically killing that hormone, the melanin. You're killing it completely. And then the mercury is actually I think a very strong metal, and if you're using it on your body, you can get mercury poisoning, you can get nephrotic disorders, as like kidney problems. So these are things that people don't understand, and it's riskier when you're using bleaching creams while you can use organic products. Personally, I use some products. Just a minute. I use products by you call her Dr. Karima Skincare. She has like one of the best skincare products in Africa. Basically, she has, you know, if you're trying to, like, you know, go away with spotting creams, like black spots, dark spots, stuff like that. She has hair cream. She has, you know, body skin gel, shower gels, all these kind of things. And the nice thing is that she has Dilka soaps, things like that. The nice thing is that all her products are natural products, 100% organic products. So people just need to understand that there are lots of products out there that we don't know about, that actually, you know, help us achieve all these things without going away from the path of Islam, without, you know, having to bleach our skins and do what abuse. So we'll come back to this discussion. This is an advert by Dr. Karima Skincare Products. She has the best skincare products in Africa, like I just said, so do check her out. Welcome back from the short break. I hope you enjoyed it. We've been talking with Shahida Abdullah about self-love as a woman and good etiquette in Islam. The problem of bleaching, like we were discussing before the break, was actually one of the most controversial issues when I actually checked online about skincare. And the thing about it is, people don't understand that you cannot put self-love and reaching in the same context and category. Thank you. It doesn't add up, because what you're doing is you're actually just following, you're deviating from the path of Allah, you're just following the path of shaitan. And this is actually what shaitan wants. Trust me, what he said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran in Surah An-Nisa, what did shaitan say? لعنه الله وقال لأتخذن من عبادك نصيبا مفروضا. He said, I will take a portion of your slaves away from you. That was what he said to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And how does he do that? How does he take away the portion of Allah's slaves? That's by making us, try to look like him. That's what he wants to achieve. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has cursed women who tattoo, who ask for the tattoos, who pluck their eyebrows, who ask their eyebrows to be plucked, who make gaps in their teeth, and women who try to change the creation of Allah. That's where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, لعن الله الواشمات والمتوشمات والنامصات والمتمنصات والمتفلجات للحسن المغيرات لخلق الله. And that's actually a very sound hadith, that you should just try as much as possible to stay away from these things. Stay away from tattooing, stay away from bleaching your skin, anything that causes alterations from the creation that Allah has already given you, then stay away from it, because that is what shaitan wants. Shaitan said, that I will mislead them, and I will create in them false desires, and I will order them to slit the ears of camels, of cattle, and that he will ask us, he will make us, he will put it in us that we have to change the creation of Allah. So let us not do that. Let's do something else. We have different products, like the Dr. Karima skincare products. You have a lot of products that you can use, that you would be free to use, because they're organic products. They are they include Islamic medicinal products as well. So Shahida, sorry, back to your discussion. What is good etiquette in Islam? Now we are moving from self-love to good etiquette, because I feel they both go hand in hand. So in Islam, what is good etiquette, and how is it described in the Quran and Sunnah?
So good etiquette, it basically deals with the way you behave around others, the way you are to other people, and there are many good etiquettes that the Prophet ﷺ has made clear to us. And so something as simple as this is, you can even do it in praying for one another. That's a good etiquette. That's a good etiquette in Islam. Respecting elders, respecting your parents, and also having compassion to the younger ones.
I think there are over 75 or even more than 75
in the Quran alone.
Exactly, good etiquettes mentioned in the Quran. You should not lie, you should not gossip, you should not backbite, you should not drink, gambling, a lot of things. All these things have been given to us as a gift by Allah. He's been, they've been there in the Quran for 1,400 years. So we just need to sit down, read it, go through it and absorb it. But we've been given all these guidelines. So why is good etiquette important in Islam? There are people that feel you can relate with people anyhow you want. You can decide to do whatever you want, and there's nothing bad about it. But obviously, as a Muslim, there has to be there's a ruling for everything. If you need to enter the bathroom, there's how you go about it. Every single thing about a Muslim's life is revolved around how the Quran and Sunnah has said we should do it. So why is it important for us to have good etiquettes in Islam?
See, because of Allah's commands in the Quran, this is something mentioned in the Quran, not just in the Sunnah. So it shows how important it is to achieve those etiquettes. So it helps you to gain Allah's love, because you're basically going with His commands. Helps you to gain Allah's love. And when you have those good etiquettes, you're respected in society, among your friends, among family, you are respected. And people also love you for your good character, and it's also a part of fulfilling your faith. And you can't say you're a good Muslim. You pray 5 times a day, you pay zakah, you do all of those pillars of Islam. But if you do not have good manners, then it doesn't. You actually kind of are lost. There's a hadith of An-Nawawi that said, "Ittaqullah haythu ma kunt wa atbi'i al-hasanati." That at the end of the hadith is that you should relate with people with very good manners and behavior. Now, so what manners of the Prophet ﷺ do we need to adopt as Muslims? The one that I've been hearing a lot, when I listened to Sira and everything, is the way his smile, how he met everyone with a smile and like a positive kind of approach. Yeah. So his smile, that's one thing. It's also sunnah to smile. And another thing is, as you mentioned, not lying, not backbiting. So basically controlling your tongue. Being patient with people, not being rash and rude
and irrational as well.
Yes.
Well, I think we've actually covered everything. We've come to the end of this. So one thing I want to say is, obviously, too often we kind of value ourselves, but we make that value depend on other people's opinions. I'm going back to self-love, and that thing is it's actually it's demeaning for you yourself to actually let people tell you who you are, because nobody knows you the way you know yourself. So I feel people should actually sit down and have a kind of self-reflection moment. You can do it with a pen, a paper. You can sit down or ask a family member, someone you trust, okay, what do you think about me? What do you like about me? What don't you like about me? What should I stop doing? What do you think I can achieve? And honestly, as a Muslim, I feel everyone should have a to-do list that comprises of all your salawat, all the dhikrs you want to say throughout the day. That's if you're forgetful like me. So if you do that, you know you have achieved, even if you have not done any other thing, throughout the day, you've achieved something. You have something solid, that even if you were to die today, that I've achieved something. At least, this is something that makes me feel good.
Also on that list, listen out basically your flaws and how you want to
work on them,
fixing them.
Yeah, so exactly, if you look at your flaws, you are less likely to listen to what other people say about them,
because you already know them. You're already self-aware. You've done your self-reflection.
Okay, so this brings us to the end of this episode. We've been talking with Shahida Abdullah about self-love as a woman and good etiquette in Islam. We've discussed at length what self-love means in Islam, how we can work towards being selfless in our self-love, what 4 elements of self-love she gave us. She gave us self-care, self-awareness, self-worth, and self-esteem. Now, I kind of forgot the last 2. We discussed good etiquette in Islam with examples from the Quran and Sunnah, why good etiquette is important in Islam, and the great manners of the Prophet ﷺ that we need to espouse in our lives. Well, Shahida, I think you should give us a last message, something that we can go back home and ruminate over.
I think it's what we've been saying. Be authentic and be true to yourself, not letting other people's opinions affect you and who you are.
Okay, so lastly, I want to say, whenever I feel low, there's this thing I say to myself. I remember the saying of Imam Ali radiallahu anh, that you presume you are a small entity, but within you is enfolded the entire universe.
Wow.
So you think that you are worthless, basically, but you're bigger than the entire world itself. So if you actually tell yourself that, kind of, okay, what's the lows, and then the highs and the lows happen, obviously, but when I tell myself that, I feel more at peace. And I just want to say that we should remember that the gift of life was given to us by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Don't alter your creation because of the pursuit for beauty in this life. Perfection does not exist in this dunya, it exists in the hereafter. So let's try as much as possible to love ourselves for who we are. That self-love, the self-care, it's very important. If you don't love yourself, nobody's going to love you more than you love yourself. So start, by loving yourself first. So give yourself some love, treat yourself well, and treat others well as well. Don't be selfish about it. With this, I say, on behalf of me and my guests, Assalamu Alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you for watching.